Hola chiques, es la señora Ver con un tutorial de gramática. Okay, so the purpose of this tutorial is to go over some basic things. As a result of last year, maybe some of you know this, some of you don't. If you do, it's a review. So hang in there, work with me, okay, because I want to be able to have everyone reach the same point so that we can build upon what, from wherever it is that we are at this moment, okay? So I want to review a couple of basic things, and then I'm going to review some grammar. Disclaimer, grammar has no purpose if it's not for communication, okay? So even though we do this because we are trying to be accurate, because we have to increase our accuracy in our grammar, that said, mistakes are perfectly acceptable. And all of this gets better the more you read and speak and do all the other activities that are communicative. Okay, so this is technical. So you got to hang in there. So make sure you have your notebook. And I'm going to review some quick concepts. Okay. Um, this is what's called a conjugation chart. Okay. I will frequently use this. Maybe this year we're going a little paperless, but I may put up on the board for you to use some new tense, and I'll put it in a chart like this. Okay, so what does this chart mean if you don't know what it means? This allows us to change the verb to fit the person that is the speaker, either yo, if I am the speaker, right? So in this box, you will always see the form of the verb for yo. Or if we're speaking to someone, tú, in this little box, you will always see the tú form of the verb, the you form. In this one, or if we're talking about someone else, right? In this box, we will see the él o ella form. And also our formal, which is usted. Okay, we'll clear that up as we go. And so notice, yo, tú, él, ella, usted. All these people on this side are singular, right? And that's what this chart also represents, okay? If I'm hanging out with someone else, Maria y yo, we all of a sudden become nosotros or nosotras, see? Even though we don't use the you plural here in the United States, I'm still going to give it to you so that you're aware of it. Okay. Vosotros y vosotras. That means you all. And it's commonly used in Spain. It is actually what we here in the United States and in Latin America are used as ustedes, you all. If you hear people down south say, hey, y'all, right, that's what they're referring to. We don't have a word for that in English. I use y'all all the time, even though I'm not from the South. Well, I'm from way down south, but because I find that the English language doesn't have that, okay? So notice here it's the tú plural, you plural, vosotros, but we use this one, all right? And then here él becomes plural, so it becomes ellos or ella, ellas, see? So that's kind of how this goes. And notice on this side, we have a whole bunch of plural people, right? There's more than one people. Plural. Okay? So basically, whenever I go like this, and I put a verb like hablar, see? More or less, if I go, yo hablo, tú hablas, él habla, hablamos, habláis, y hablan, which is in the present. See, it's the now. That's what that's going to mean. I'm not going to write all these, yo, tú, él, ella, usted. But you know that this chart, anytime you see this, over here, you're always going to have the yo form, the tú, de él, ella, or usted. The nosotros o nosotras, we don't use this one. And the ellos, ellas, ustedes. Okay? So that's some basic format that we're going to be using in class. All right? Here we go. Moving on. I want to do a little review and see if you know this or no. I got to see where everyone is at in terms of all these tenses. You know, it's very important in Español, tres honores, that we start communicating in multiple tenses, whether it's in the present, presente, which is basically the now, what I'm doing now. El pretérito, which is the recent past. See? Y el imperfecto, which can be either way back, right, when you were a little kid. It can also stand for I used to, when I used to do something. Or if I did something for an extended period of time, you know, like, hey, I used to take ballet classes. Sí, yo tomaba clases de ballet. All right, so I just want to review some conjugations, see if we know these, okay? So let me see how I'm going to organize this. And I want you also to organize your notes this way. I don't give you tons of these notes, but when I do, I want you to put them in un cuaderno, in a usable notebook that you can, you know, take out and reference so that you can get very accurate with your verb choices, all right? Pretérito, the nice thing about pretérito is that we only have two forms. There is a downside to pretérito. There's a lot of irregulars, but we'll get through that. Let's just do the basic regular stuff. And imperfecto here también, okay? So let's do this. As you can see, a bunch of conjugation charts. We all know, hopefully by this point, that in Espanol, verbs have three kinds of endings, right? They either end in ar, or ir, see? And depending on the ending are the conjugations. Present, you know, even though these two are similar, there's a little bit of difference here. But then these start to sort of combine, right? AR verbs have a certain ending, and then ER and IR verbs take on the same ending, see? And the same goes for here. ER and IR. Okay, so we can fill this out pretty quickly, right? So for AR verbs, let's take a test verb. I always like to use a test verb, cantar, because it just sounds weird doing it, you know, with no verb reference. So I would say yo canto, tú cantas, él, ella o usted canta, nosotros cantamos, vosotros cantáis, ellos, ellas, ustedes cantan. Muy bien. Let's take a test verb. Comer, ¿sí? Yo como, tú comes, él come, nosotros comemos, vosotros coméis, ellos, ellas, ustedes comen. And ir, let's say, a popular one. Escribir, correcto. So, yo escribo, tú escribes, él, ella, usted escribe. Nosotros escribimos. Here's a little difference. Vosotros escribís. Ellos, ellas, ustedes escriben. Remember, I'm just giving you this as an extra, but we don't really use the vosotros actively on this side of the world, okay? Pretérito, okay, muy importante. One of the things about pretérito is that there's accents all over the place when you're writing them, right? Oh, Dios mío, mi luz. All right, I'm gonna leave all the crazy in. Come on, light, stop. All right, so let's take a verb. Let's take the same one, cantar, see? So here, I want to say that I sang immediate, like the recent past, immediate past. So, yo canté, tú cantaste, él y usted cantó, Nosotros cantamos. Vosotros cantasteis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes cantaron. Now, for ER or IR, it doesn't matter. I can use either of these, right? So I could say, yo comí, tú comiste, él y usted comió, nosotros comimos, vosotros comisteis, ellos y ustedes comieron. ¿Sí? Muy bien. All right, so that's our immediate past. Honestly, this one, I feel that this tense is the one we use the most in life. See? El presente, we use a lot, but most of the stuff we do, we already did. So when you're talking in Espanol, you're talking about yourself, what you just did, your history, your life, and you want to look back, you're going to use a lot of pretérito, okay? Let's say we're recalling things way back when. Or another way that imperfect is used is like to set up the scene. Okay, set up the scene. See, describe. Now, you don't have to get these 100% right or get, too overly concerned because it just takes practice. This is something that we don't have in the English language. But let's stick with the same verb. Okay, cantar. So, if I want to say when I was a kid, I used to sing. Cuando era niño yo cantaba. Tú cantabas. Él y usted cantaba. Nosotros cantábamos. Vosotros cantabais. May have an accent, sí. Ellos y ustedes cantaban. Perfecto, muy bien. All right. And if the verb ends in ER, okay, since here I used comer in my previous answer, I'm going to use escribir here, okay? So, I can say, yo escribía mucho de niño. Tú escribías, él y usted escribía, nosotros escribíamos, vosotros escribíais, ellos y ustedes escribían. ¿Sí? I know that grammar is a little bit, it's not the funnest thing around, but there is a place for this when you're writing and you're wanting to be extremely accurate, okay? When you're speaking, we can kind of flub this a little more. It's more instinctual, but you'll develop that instinct. I'm sure many of you have it already. This is just a quick review to see if we're all on the same page and if you kind of understand what this is about. And it's the easiest way for me to assess, have a review, and have everyone, let me know how familiar or not they are with this stuff. All right? So, that's it para el tutorial de gramática. Muchas gracias, chicos. Adiós.